Okay, so, well, it took 2,607 videos, and this is probably the first legitimately anger-fueled video I've ever done. Crazy how that works out. Before I go off on a tear, I suppose I at least should give you my high and my act of kindness, because what my low is going to be the reason why I'm about to go off on quite literally the most anger-fueled tangent I've ever done. So, I would say that my high was I got to see my family yesterday. Even got to see my nephews. Sadly, my brother and his wife are sick with the flu, and they don't want, you don't want the boys getting it. So, my parents had to watch my nephews, and that was good. I got to see them. It was a lot of fun. And my act of kindness was I took out the garbage for my parents. Now we get into the low. Okay, so I was at the store last night. Not going to say which one. And I was looking around. And these two guys walk in. Both of them bringing their dogs inside. One was a bigger dog that was more gray, but kind of like on the thinner side, I guess. I wouldn't say like slender. It was a slender looking dog. The other dog was a smaller, what appeared to be kind of a cross between a bulldog and a pitty. So definitely the size of a bulldog, but the face of a pit bull, kind of. And it was half white, half brown. Now, little known fact about me, I like animals. I do. I like dogs, I like cats, I like bunnies, I like turtles, I like all animals. I do. I mean, the only reason why I don't really own a pet right now is because, listen, I gotta be able to afford rent. I need to, be able to, do stuff like that. But, I do like dogs. And, oh my gosh, I can't even. Okay. So, I very sincerely and politely, walk up and say, "Oh, hi, baby." I'm giving the dog a compliment. Specifically, it was the brown and white dog, the second dog I mentioned. And this guy, he starts going off at me. He's like, you don't ask for permission to do that? I'm like, what? Is it rude? He's saying, is it rude to walk up and give a compliment or whatever? And he proceeds to go off saying, "You're lucky this dog's one of the nice ones, because that other dog over there would tear you up." Now, keep in mind, if I walked up and started petting the dog, that'd be one thing. I didn't though. If anything I did was give this dog a compliment, and this guy starts going off at me. And the entire time I'm in this store, he's either glaring at me, or you could sense the vibes that he's still mad at me, even though I left him alone pretty much the entire time. In fact, as I was leaving the store, he was glaring at me. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, Nick, aren't you being a little overly dramatic? I mean, you're probably never going to run into this guy ever again. And, you know, maybe he was having a bad day too. Or maybe something bad happened to him and he just went off for no reason. All valid points. Sure. However, the lady who was working at the store also gave that dog a compliment. And he didn't go off on her. So not only is this guy being a giant hipster douchebag, and I know he was a hipster because he was holding his vape the entire time, but you're also being a hypocrite too. And that's where I didn't do anything there. Although as I was leaving, I was driving by the door, I totally flipped this guy the bird. I totally did. He deserved it. Bro, let me tell you something. If you're watching this, you're lucky I don't know who you are. You're lucky I don't know who you are. You're lucky that I'm actually one of the nice ones, not your dog. You're lucky we were inside of the store. And you're lucky that there are cameras everywhere. Because you couldn't handle what I do to you. There are 3 things in this world that all wise men fear most. The sea in the middle of the storm, the night with no moon, and the anger of a patient man. And you don't want to be caught on the latter. Because I like to think I'm a pretty patient guy. I really do. You know, listen. In my 35 years of living, I like to think that while I've made some pretty big mistakes in my life. I have. Some that, if anyone knew, I don't think anyone would ever trust me ever again. Heck, to this day, there are still some places I'm not allowed inside of anymore. And I deserve it. But in spite of that, I like to think I try and be a halfway decent person. Best person in the world? Far from it. An overall decent person who would give a dog a compliment because of how cute that dog is? I would absolutely do that. And I need permission? That'd be like writing a letter to Congress saying I need permission to breathe. I'm sorry, but bro, you are wrong. You are wholly wrong. You're wrong for the way you acted towards me. You were wrong for how you were staring at me as I was even leaving the store. And hell, you were wrong for yelling at me when you didn't yell at the woman who complimented your dog. I'm sorry it had to be. I'm sorry that this had to be the first anger-fueled video I've had to do. I am sorry. Today was actually supposed to be a fun video. In fact, full stop, today's video is going to be... Because remember in yesterday's video, I talked about how the new Super Smash Bros. Game is going to be Super Smash Bros. Rivals. And I was going to come up with like 50 Pokemon that could be in Smash. In fact, last night in my short, I talked about how hard that was. Full stop, last night's short was almost me going off on what I'm talking about today. Like, I wanted to at least get some sleep. And then, and then think, you know what, if I'm still mad about this when I wake up, well, you know what, at least I should be thinking more clearly after having a good night's sleep. Seriously, this is me having a good night's sleep and I'm this angry. You don't want to see me when... And here's the thing, I'm actually holding myself back a little. I really am. And you know for a fact I am, because so far, not once have I dropped the F-bomb. Come to think of it, I haven't dropped the F-bomb since December of 2023. I've gone this long without dropping the F-bomb on camera, and I'm not going to do that here. This guy doesn't deserve it. Believe me. Like, as I said earlier, I'm not a good person. I've met some really shady people. Some very not nice people. I can make a case I'm related to one such person right now. Of course, as of right now, like, seriously, I shouldn't make a video like this unless that particular person earns it. And frankly, of all things, this really shouldn't bother me at all. Because again, like, it's one hipster douchebag. I'm probably not even going to see this guy ever again. But to go off at me, just because I didn't ask for permission to give your dog a compliment, bro, I'm not the one with the problem here. You are. Especially when you're going to go off at me, but you're not going to go off at the lady who's working there and gives your dog a compliment? I'm sorry, but if it was the other way around, I guarantee you, everybody goes off at me. I mean, if you want, although, here's the thing, I don't want to give away too much of what this guy looked like, because it may or may not have been a white guy. And by may or may not, I mean he was not a white guy. But he was holding a vape and he was wearing glasses. I'll share that much. He was also wearing a hat. And furthermore, if you think I'm going crazy, you know what? Go to the store. Actually, I didn't know. Actually, I didn't name the store. Never mind. I was going to say, go to the store and take a look at the camera footage. And see for yourself how much of a douchebag this guy was. I'm sorry. I mean, frankly, again, it took this long to finally get a video where I'm projecting anger vibes for once. I certainly don't ever want to make a habit of doing this. Especially when I like to think I've done a pretty solid job of keeping composure on camera. But this just makes my blood boil. It does. I mean, what kind of world are we living into? Given the way the world is now, in a day and age where social media and having a presence really does make a difference. In a day and age where, you know, for every good thing we've got going for us, we've got like a dozen things that are not so good going for us. Where do you get off yelling at someone for giving your dog a compliment and having not asked permission for it? I'm sorry, but if I get yelled at for not asking permission to give your dog a compliment, I'm not the one with the problem here. You are. Again, I mean, there's a high probability this guy probably doesn't even... Seriously, this guy was such a hipster douchebag, he probably doesn't have anything going for him. But you know what? Actually, hold on a second. I want to look one thing up. As of right now, it's 13 degrees outside. Perfect. I hope you get locked out of your house. I hope you get locked out of your house in this weather. Frankly, you deserve a lot worse. But I'm not that cruel of a person. Trust me, if I really wanted to be cruel, it'd be a different video right now. And one that, again, I hope I never have to make. But, I guess for any of you guys wondering, yes, I am capable of being angry. Even I can run out of patience every now and again. I'm far from perfect. But if I had a dog and someone walked up to me giving the dog a compliment, I would take that compliment gladly and go on about my day. But that's just me. Gosh, that felt surprisingly liberating and very cathartic. Not that I'm making this a regular. Listen, I never want to make a video like this a regular thing ever. In fact, I'm a little embarrassed I have to talk about it now. But sharing your feelings really is the best medicine. And at the moment, it didn't come any better than this. Again, I really hope I don't rub people the wrong way. Because obviously I try not to. I mean, this is the last kind of behavior I ever want to do for a video. Ever. Because this isn't me. It really isn't. So, I mean, I guess I feel okay that, it didn't get worse. I can be humbled about that. I'm hopeful that everybody's hump day goes well. So, yeah, happy hump day, folks. For the most part, I'm feeling okay outside of this. But if anyone wants to talk, by all means, you know how to reach me. And I hope you make good choices today. Have a nice day, folks. At least got the Masked Singer today. That's going to be good.